Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of VARC brought to you by PrepBee. So let's get started. We are going to do one RC and few VA questions, and we shall begin with the reading comprehension first. So Sana Iyer's book is essentially a political history. Its main theme is the relations between the three major communities: Indians, Africans, and Europeans. So it is just saying that the book focuses on the political relationships between three main groups, that is, Indians, Africans, and Europeans. Africans is defined narrowly. There is little on Somalis or Arabs, who constitute important components of Kenya's population. So the author is just trying to say that the term Africans in the book mostly refers to certain groups, and it does not include others like Somalis or Arabs, even though they are significant in Kenya. Nor does the book say much about the social or theological history of Indians, which is of considerable interest. The book does not even talk much about the culture or religious history of Indians, even though it is very interesting. It is of considerable interest. In a short time, Indians achieved great success as scholars, teachers, engineers, doctors, lawyers, and business people. Like Africans, who were divided into numerous tribes, Indians were divided by language, religion, and tradition. Just as Africans found it difficult to mount a united political front, so did the Indians, especially after the partition in India in 1947. So they were just saying that both Africans and Indians struggled to unite politically, and this was even harder for Indians after India was split in 1947. Something of this is captured by Iyer, but without sufficient background to the diversity within Indian community, nor indeed among the Africans. So it's just saying that in the book that Iyer have written, Iyer mentions these divisions, but she does not go into enough details about the diversity within the communities of both Indians and Africans. So this is about the first Ayer's book, and about the political history. What are the connections? All of this is mentioned here. Now, the tensions between the different communities would have been easier to understand if the author had explained the colonial policy of divide and rule, and not only between the races but also among the races, particularly Africans, but also Indians. So the tensions between the groups would make more sense if the author had explained how the British colonialists they used a divide and rule policy to keep the groups separate and divided. This is a major weakness in this political history, which in other respects is quite detailed. The scheme of the book is to examine the relations between European settlers, Indians, and Africans at different periods. So the book looks into the relationship between Europeans, Indians, and Africans that has changed over the time. Their interest varied over different periods. So the goals of these groups they kept changing during different periods of times. So in the early years of colonialism, the European hegemony was unchallenged, but with the access of the Indians to education, they staked their own claims to recognition. So what it means is that in the earlier colonial years, Europeans had total control. But as Indians got more educated, they started demanding recognition. Africans did not stake their claim for several years, and when they did, they found support from an unlikely source, the newly independent government of India, assisted by Kenyan Indians. So, they took longer to ask for their rights, but when they did, they got help from India, which has just become independent, and by Indians in Kenya. Now, the Indian community was by no means united, certainly not after the partition of India, leading to the formation of Pakistan, though this did not affect their support for Africans. They, however, supported Africans. The best part of the book is author's examination of changing interest of the different communities, though perhaps the best manifestation of this at independence conferences in London is not discussed in this work. So it is just saying that the best part of the book is that how the author shows that there are how the interests of different groups have changed over time. Although the author says that the Iyer did not talk about how this was shown at independence meetings in London's, that would have been very significant, but the part has been skipped. For a period of time, Indian politicians supported African claims to independence, though large sections of the Indian community were less enthusiastic. However, they showed some politicians, they supported the independence claims that Africans made. With the imminence of independence, African politicians could dispense with Indian support. That means as the independence got closer, African leaders no longer needed the Indian help. The British policy of differential entitlements to races did not help in development of common interest between Africans and Asians, though by this time Indian politicians were for the most part committed to independence. So it means that the British policy of giving different rights to different races made it hard for Africans and Asians to have common goals, though by then Indian leaders mostly supported independence. Many Indians believe that the disregard by the Africans, particularly its leader Jomo Kenyatta, in favor of Europeans as the ultimate betrayal by Africans, despite considerable support over the years from Indian leaders. IR discusses very well the tensions between Indian traders and Africans aspiring to the advancement of commencement and finding Indians as obstacles. So here it is just saying that many Indians they felt betrayed when African leader Jomo, what he did was Jomo, even though Indians uh, Jomo favored Europeans over Indians, even though Indians had supported Africans for many years. Right. So IR explains well the conflict between Indian traders and Africans who wanted to succeed in business but saw Indians as a competition. This conflict of interest was never resolved and got worse after independence within the Indian exodus. The book closes at this point. Thus, it is missing a detailed account of how the Indian entrepreneurs adjusted to it by shifting their attention to manufacturing and construction industries, which allowed them to become billionaires, an opportunity that would not have come from their small dukas while competing with the African traders. So the book does not go into how Indian business people adapted by moving into industries like manufacturing and construction, which actually made them very wealthy, something that wouldn't have happened if they had stayed only in the small shops competing with African traders, right? So the book, this is basically the book review. IR has written a book on the relations between Europeans, Indians, and Africans, and this is just brief summary. So not that book. All right. Now let's talk about the questions and let's discuss that. The author of the book review is least likely to support the view that least likely to support which he will not support. The Africans were never united because they followed different religious practices. Again, never mentioned. They just said Indians are, they are divided because of religion, but Africans का कुछ भी mentioned नहीं है, so this will hold on right now. Indian politicians were not averse to the African aspiration for freedom. Yes, true. The Africans considered the Indians as rivals. Very true when it came to trade and commerce. The Indian trading community in Africa diversified their trade practices after independence. Yes, they went to manufacturing, construction. This is also true. So this is your answer. One is your answer. Well, right. Now, according to the book review, the book mentioned in the passage explore the historicity of the social positioning of Indians. Not really. It talks about the relations, examines the upward mobility of, no, it basically talks about how, what were the dynamics, how it changed over period of time. Aims to examine the interracial relationship among the Europeans, Africans, and the Indians. Very true. Provides a comprehensive background analysis of the assorted Indian community. Very much focus on Indian, but no, it was of all these three. And hence, three is your answer. Now, the author's observation, the British policy of differential entitlements to races did not help in development of common interest between African and Asians indicate that the British were not concerned about the aesthetic interest of African and Asian communities. Nowhere it is mentioned, so very irrelevant distortion of facts, and hence we eliminate this. The British wanted to build a harmonious relationship. No way. The British wanted to oust the Indians from the African countries. Oust is they really were not, the main intention was not that the British wanted to oust the Indians, right? The British followed a divide and rule policy. This can be inferred because differential elements to races, so divide and rule policy can be inferred. All of the following statements can be inferred except now. The African and the Indian traders never cooperated with each other. Maybe we can infer this. As the hour of independence drew near, Indian support was crucial for the Africans. This is not true because यहाँ पे ये लिखा है clearly that within the imminence, that is, as the independence was approaching, African politicians could dispense with Indian support. That means they no longer needed Indian support. So this is your answer. The religious history of the Indians can evoke a sense of wonder. True. Counter, because it is said that it is of considerable interest. A counter hegemony to the Europeans developed when the Indians received education. This is also given. Now let's do some VA. A robot's mode of learning from humans is via the use of algorithms. And in order to make a computer do anything, one must first write a computer program. The computer then executes the program, automatically completing each step in order to accomplish the अल्टीमेट गोल सेट बाय द यूजर देयरफॉर लिखा है तो ये भी स्टार्टिंग नहीं हो सकता देन लिखा है तो ये भी स्टार्टिंग नहीं हो सकता to write a computer program one should tell the computer exactly what needs to be done and how it needs to be done step by step. ठीक है. Question 5. A robot's mode of learning from humans is via the use of algorithm. And in order to make computer do anything, first we need to write a computer program. This is your introducing, it is introducing your idea. So first comes. Now, after computer programming, how do you write computer program? To write a computer program, one should tell computer exactly what needs to be done and how it needs to be done step by step. Okay. After that, what you'll have to do? Then the computer executes and therefore is your final statement. So 1, 4, 2, 3. Now, with seismic data only available for the Earth and Mars, geodetic measurements, including the observation of the tidal response, have become valuable and therefore played an important role in understanding the history of several solar system bodies. Our solar system harbors a very diverse population of planetary bodies, including those composed of rock, ice, gas, or a mixture of all. With a rich arsenal of geophysical methods has been developed over years to infer knowledge about the interior of the Earth, the inventory of tools to investigate the interiors of other solar system bodies remains limited. Bodily tides provide key information on the interior structure, evolution, and origin of the planetary bodies. So this is your introducing the main idea that bodily tides, they provide key information on all of these things. Now they are saying that on the planetary bodies. So we'll talk about our solar system. Our solar system, it has a lot of planetary bodies like rock, ice, gas, and a mixture of all that. So, however, we have very little knowledge about the interior of the Earth. And then with seismic data only available of Earth and Mars, so geodetic measurements का they have become valuable कह रहा है. तो वही 4, 2, 3, 1. 4 is introducing your main idea. Then second is talking about one particular solar system and its planetary bodies. Then we have limited information and how we, and why other means is very useful. Now, it seems that the modification of education system of 19th century to 21st century education system has brought a new angle to productivity and usefulness of two forms of education. The rapid advancement of information technology has occasioned the new adaptation, and it is observed that the utilization and impact has extended from the industrial production to virtually all aspects of life. The e-learning environment in higher education institution is learning system that combines emerging technology with teaching and learning processes as a major educational development. So it seems that modification has brought a new angle to the productivity and usefulness And the rapid advancement of IT has occasioned new adaptation, and we are now utilizing it better. Impact has been in all aspects of life. E-learning environment in higher education is a learning system that combines emerging technology with teaching and learning processes as a major educational development. So the transition of education system and its impact on nation building, ये है main idea hold करते हैं. Exploring the possibilities of academic engagement in delivery of online classes in today's ये है because main how we are leveraging technologies given we'll hold on to this as well. The rapidly changing contours of e-learning in the domain of elementary education, again, an impact on school kids, distortion, examining the holistic development of IT around the world and how it changed the course of our lives. It is mainly talking about how it has e-learning environment के बारे में ज्यादा बात हो रही है, तो academic engagement का second is your answer. Identify the odd one out. The amoeba lives in warm, fresh water and can enter the body through the nose, from where it travels to the brain and starts to destroy the tissue. It is talking about amoeba. The death of the child in Nebraska this summer put the rare but deadly Naegleria fowleri, more commonly known as brain-eating amoeba, back in the headlines. Again, they are talking about the same amoeba. It grows best in whatever in warm waters, temperature about 30 degrees, and can tolerate temperature up to 46 degrees. And okay, they are so 2 and 3 are very much related. Yeah, and it is also talking about death of the child. Let's see. It is possible that young boys are more likely to participate in activities like diving into water and playing in the sediment at the bottom of lakes and rivers, where pathogen is likely to reside. The case underscored a troubling new reality. Climate change is encouraging the amoeba to pop up in parts of the US where it isn't typical, such as North and West. So here this is talking about pathogens. One is that the case is what? Death of the child. Now, amoeba lives in fresh warm water and can enter the body how? Through nose, where it travels the brains and destroy the tissue. The death is given here. Uh, and now it is talking about amoeba. However, this is talking about the pathogen. And hence, this is your odd one out. Fourth is your answer. This is it for today. If you have any doubts, please do ask us in the comment section. And we'll be back soon with yet another video.